Am I the a-hole for hiding food from my boyfriend? So my 43F and my boyfriend 44M have been together for years and live together. We don't have kids. We're very happy and have good communication. There's one issue that drives me nuts. We use a joint account to buy food for us, usually shopping together a few times a month and then one of us picking up things here and there. I cook dinner almost every night and we don't eat a ton of junk, but occasionally I'll buy things we both love for a weekend or to just indulge here and there. The issue is that I go to bed on the early side and he stays up late and goes full ham on any junk food we have around on any given night of the week. I'm talking an entire family-size bag of chips and the entire container of queso gone in one sitting that I was saving for Friday margaritas. I went to make us root beer floats with a quart of ice cream and 2 liters of soda and they were gone from shopping 2 days prior. He doesn't ever replace things, he just gives me a sheepish smile when I ask where the rest of something is, knowing that he ate it all. So last night after cleaning up the kitchen from dinner, I put all the candy and chips and anything shelf-stable in a different place where he wouldn't find them. He went ballistic after I went to bed that all the good food was gone, even though I had just cooked a nice dinner. I told him welcome to my world, as this is constantly happening when I go to have anything that's been purchased. He said I was treating him like a child and I said he was acting like one. I don't care that he indulges, but to literally finish off every bit of something that's been bought for us both to enjoy is getting really old. It's not a weight thing or a money thing, I just want him to leave maybe one portion for me or maybe we can enjoy together. So until he can show some willpower, I told him I won't be keeping any junk food around for him to gorge on unless it's something he's purchased from his own account. Part of me thinks this is just funny, which is why I might be the but I just think he needs to figure out how to share, figure out how not to consume the entire lot in one sitting, or figure out how to buy his own treats. Am I the a-hole for ditching guy at music festival? I, 33F, was dating a guy, 32M, for about 6 weeks, at certain points tumultuous during that time. I had planned to go to a music festival with my friends in Napa independently. The day before, he said he got a last-minute ticket with some friends and asked if he could stay with me. I said okay. The day of the concert we were in touch, and I was excited for him to meet my friends. I told him where we were camped out at the festival so he could join, but he stuck with him friends and never met up with us. Fast forward 6 to 7 hours, still has not tried to find us. During the very last performer, it was dark and cold at this point, he finally texts that he wants to meet up. At this point some of my friends had already left, they had given up on meeting this guy and the rest of us were getting ready to leave. I texted back saying to just stick with his friends. I was pissed at this point and felt like he had no interest in actually hanging out and solely using me for a place to crash. I didn't want to even see him at this point, let alone spend the night together. He immediately responds saying he needs a place to stay and he can't stay with his friends, and that he was confused. The concert is a bit over an hour drive from where we live, so worst case scenario it's an Uber back. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my son he and his fiancée is spoiled? I'll try to keep this short. My M57 son, M23, is engaged to Peggy, F22. They have been engaged for 5 months or so. Our culture dictates that Peggy's father and I share the costs for their wedding. Her father, said we should provide $10,000 each, a total $20,000 budget. I could afford this sure, but this seems insane and extravagant to me. I said I would give $5,000 and he could give whatever he wanted. Peggy's father also put up $5,000. I told my son this and he told me outright it wasn't going to be enough. He said I don't mind. I figured that me and Peggy would have to pay for some of the wedding. I asked what he meant. He said no way would they be able to do their wedding in under $10,000. I said my own wedding, after haggling and deals, only came out to around $7,000, so I do not think this is an issue. He argued against me and said that my wedding was 40 years ago and prices were different. He outlined some prices and said the cheapest venue he could find was $5,000, and food alone was going to be $2,500. He again said he didn't mind and he thanked me for giving them money for the wedding, but I honestly felt hurt that he thought we were not giving enough. I said how could food come out to $2,500, and he said that was only around $25 per person. I suggested ordering pizzas or sub sandwiches, but he looked at me like I was crazy. I said okay, well we can just offer less for the photographer and decorator, and he said that isn't how things are done. I said it is how things are done, and maybe if Peggy and him weren't so spoiled and expecting the best of the best for everything, then $10,000 would be plenty. After I said this he just closed his eyes and thanked me for the money and basically told me to get out. I was complaining about this instance to my wife and she told me I was being a stick in the mud and it's his only wedding. My friends agree with me though. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she can't talk to my kid about her miscarriage and take him to the grave? I, 28F, have a son, 5M. I was adopted and grew up the consolation prize for the miscarriage my mom, 68F, had at 20 weeks. We had to go to this fetus's grave every year. One of my earliest memories was her forcing me to give my favorite stuffed rabbit to the grave. I grew up with her venting about how hard the miscarriage was to me, and I honestly think it was super inappropriate and it made me feel like a second option to what she actually wanted. I obviously was never good enough. I recently found out that she took my son to the fetus's grave and told him about it. I told her that's an off-limits topic and he has no business hearing about her miscarriage at 5 years old. Now some people in my life are saying I am an off for telling my mom she couldn't tell my son about his dead aunt, But I think I'm justified in not wanting him to have to hear about it too. It was literally 30 years ago. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give my wealthier sister the lion's share of the inheritance? Yesterday, my parents sent me, 31M, my two brothers, 32M, 34M, and my sister, 41F, down to discuss their will. My parents informed us that they want to split it 5 ways. My sister gets 2/5 while the 3 of us brothers get 1/5 each. Their reasoning is that my sister sacrificed her childhood for our family, so it's only fair she gets compensated. In our childhood, my father's business partner screwed him over, so there was a period where we were broke and in debt. My parents had to work multiple jobs to keep us afloat, and my sister babysat us while our parents worked. All she had to do was feed us and keep an eye on us. We were pretty calm kids, so all we did was play games and do our homework. It probably wasn't thrilling, but not exactly a tremendous hardship. I complained to my parents along with my brothers that it's insane they want to give my sister 2/5 of the inheritance over that, especially since she's financially the best off out of all of us. She doesn't have any kids and a dual income with her partner. My parents said they're disappointed in us, and said we need to reflect on ourselves. My sister didn't say shit while my parents spoke, but texted us afterwards that she had zero intention of taking 2/5, but we were all assholes. Am I the a-hole for feeling like this split is unfair?